Welcome to another episode of the MuscleTV podcast. I am your host, Scott Goble, joined once again by my co-host and partner in crime, Mr. Luke Shembry. Welcome, Luke.
Scotty, what is happening, my friend?
Well, there's been a bit going on in the bodybuilding world, Luke. We did have the IFBB Nationals on the weekend. You were in attendance. I had a couple of clients up there for the men's show. So I think we should just recap that show because it was one hell of a show. And what were your first thoughts, mate, when you walked in and you saw the venue and everything? Did you like the setup?
I did. Look, Tony and the team seemed to have gone another level again. It looked amazing. It was great on the inside, plenty of room for pump up. They have even more seats for people in the auditorium. So as opposed to the start of the year show, I think everyone was sitting for most of the show. There was plenty of room. Lighting looked amazing. There was even some fireworks on stage. Tony had it all. But look, it was a fantastic production. It was great.
It was a good show, and they've seemed to have refined the process over this season to just keep things moving. And man, I love a fast-paced show. I like it, just constant action, and I think everyone does. If you're there to be entertained, you don't want to have dead spots, and there are absolutely no dead time at all with the IFBB these days. As one person's walking off, another person's walking on, and it just continuously flows. So it was a really, really good show, and Tony has told me that he thinks he can make it even better again. So we'll see what he's got in store for season A next year. But mate, first division up was the men's physique division. And we had some very, very impressive competitors. But today we're going to focus primarily on the open guys, with a few exceptions of some standout athletes. And in open class A, we had a bit of a battle of titans here because there was lots and lots of guys that had won state shows previously. Many of them had stood in national overalls. My client, Fabian Trujillo, had taken out the overall at the Queensland show. We had Sufan from Queensland that was in who took out the overall in the Queensland. We had Surab, or Sol, as I know him, in there, who's a perennial, overall guy. He typically finds himself in overalls. Jamie Daish, who did the Sydney show the week prior from Tasmania's finest physique export. So it was an incredible battle. Even Riste from Victoria, who has found himself in overall titles at national championships, was in the mix. So going into the show, there was 5 or 6 guys that everyone knew. They were all the heavy hitters, and they were going to go toe-to-toe. And I kind of assumed that the winner of the short class, or the open class A, would take out the overall. You're in attendance for this one, mate. Were you surprised in any way by the way the placings worked out? Did you see the way people were moved around in the call-outs, and have any thoughts on that?
Mate, I think for physique, class A, they got it right. I was just blown away once again, Scotty, by the physique, the level of talent, the depth. It was absolutely crazy. I mean, 15 years ago, this would have been a high-class bodybuilding stage. But now the physique, like the amount of lean tissue, the muscle bellies, it's a pretty exciting division. I always feel a little bit bad for the physique competitors. They don't get to do a little bit more posing. They've only got their sort of mandatory poses. They don't get to show a lot off. Mate, absolute top-class physiques, very tight division. I thought Fabian deserved first place.
Yeah, look, I think Fabian took it out, and he did hold the middle for the entire comparison. He was put straight in there. And they probably did about 8 rounds of front to back as they shuffled around the guys to figure out who was going to be second, third, fourth. And Jamie was the one that kept moving up. Like, I think he started on the outside of the call out, then he moved into a 4th, 5th position. So I believe it was a 7-man call out, the first one. And then they moved him again, and then they moved him again because he just seemed to get harder and harder. So Jamie did an absolutely fantastic job and posed himself into that second place. Sol looked amazing, as Sol always does. But ultimately, it was Fabian that took it out. And Fabian's just a hell of a competitor. Awesome conditioning, great presentation, unbelievable front pose with a crazy midsection. So well done to Fabs. He took out one hell of a competitive class and found himself in the overall against the open class B guys. And open class B was not an easy one either. As soon as Ayrton walked on stage, I was like, oh, that's a potential problem for Fabian. And the guys in second and third are heavy hitters as well, Kyle and Peter Knowles. Peter was the guy who took out the tall class at the Sydney show, and I can't remember where Kyle crushed it. But Kyle's a very formidable competitor as well. But ultimately, it was Ayrton that took this one out. I saw him compete at the Vic show, where he was a little bit soft in the back poses, and he ended up in 3rd place there. Then he went back home to Perth, where he took out the overall there. He had tightened up a bit, but he still had a little bit of work to do. And by the time he got to Nationals, there was no more work left to be done. He was absolutely peaked to perfection. He looked fantastic. And I think personally that his advantage over Fabian in the overall, because ultimately Ayrton walked home with the pro card, was probably his back width. But I don't know what your thoughts were on that one, Luke. If you thought it was a close battle, it ended up being a 5-2 split in favour of Ayrton.
Mate, definitely very close, and I thought it would be a split like that. I'm going to say I couldn't particularly pick one over the other. If I'm to be honest, I thought it was quite even with the split. Absolutely no problem with the way that it went down. Tell me this, Scotty, how do you think our men's physique at the national level compare to the men's physique in the US level? Do you think it's sort of a bit of on parity there? Because we know with the bodybuilding, traditionally, I guess the US bodybuilding has kind of been at that pro level, and someone wins and then they walk straight on stage at the pro stage, and it's kind of like, yeah, that's a pro. Do you feel that it's an even playing field when it comes to the men's physique with the top in Australia at the amateur level versus, say, the US nationals?
I think the American nationals has been a little bit diluted in recent years in terms of quality, just due to the fact that they give out so many pro cards, and you can win pro cards at junior nationals and amateur O's and Arnold Classics and North Americans and USA Champions and nationals. So there's many, many opportunities for guys to turn pro. And as a result, I feel like the amateur scene isn't as competitive as it has been in the past. So I would say our winners are probably on par with those guys at the moment. And having said that, neither of them are ready to step on a pro stage. The pros are absolutely phenomenal. And to be fair, and it's expected, if you turn pro and you step on a pro stage, you generally get a little, reality check, and you go away and you realize that you've got to get a hell of a lot better to mix it with the best pros in the world. So Ayrton is as good as we've got. He was a fantastic winner on the day, but he is going to have to get better if he is going to stand on the pro stages in terms of everything, details, shapes, muscularity, the works. He might have to do a little bit of refinement. Ayrton's come from a classic physique background, and I believe he's close to the weight cap for pro physique already. So he might have to do a little bit of redistribution of muscle and take off some lower body and put on some upper body in order to be able to make the improvements that he needs to make to hang on the pro stage. But I do think, our guys are as good as any, but I think the pros are just absolutely phenomenal.
And do you say that's an area of improvement? If someone is near the cap, then bringing up their upper body, have to sacrifice some weight somewhere. And if you're in amazing condition, it's only going to come off the lower body. So is that pretty much what you're saying for an individual at the top of the cap trying to keep it up with the US?
Yeah, look, if you're a men's physique pro, it's that, or it's just refinement and conditioning, because there is only so much you can do without putting on kilos of muscle to change your shape. So that was certainly the case with Dr. Ash when he turned pro. He's very, very close to his weight cap, and we have had to deprioritize his lower body in order to pack on a little bit more upper body. And it's a slow process, but it can absolutely be done. And I don't know that Ayrton has any other choice. Like, his conditioning was pretty damn good. I don't know how much tighter he can get. So if he needs to put some more muscle on the, delts or the back or whatever it may be, that muscle's got to come up somewhere. Otherwise, he's going to
He's got
grow.
calves I've always wanted.
Yeah.
He does.
Ayrton's
Look at
got
the
a good lower
photos.
body.
He
Yeah.
does. He certainly does. He could probably sacrifice a little bit down there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we had it was a hell of a start. Like, we had two guys who were absolutely pro worthy. The judges worked them super, super hard, and we walked away with our first pro card holder of the day, Ayrton from Perth. Perth had a pretty good season, I must admit. So if we move on to the classic physique, we will focus on the open guys again. We had a pretty outstanding junior. Well, actually, it was a very competitive junior division in general. But Eamon Butler took out the junior division with a very balanced, well-developed, well-conditioned physique for a young guy. And I like keeping an eye on the juniors because oftentimes they move on and become outstanding open competitors. And Eamon's got a big future. I'm not sure if it's in classic physique or if it's in bodybuilding. Depends on how much size he wants to put on. But that kid was good, man. Did you see Eamon up there?
I did, mate. I remember him from his legs mainly. A
Yes.
serious set of quads there. I'm just looking at the photos here, and congratulations to Eamon on what he's been able to achieve. I think more bodybuilding than anything else. Just when I look at his physique overall, that's not taking anything away from his classic win here. I just thought he's got some freaky body parts, in particular his lower half. And just looking at this photo here, I do remember I was talking to someone next to me, and we were both commenting at the quad development. So personally, I feel that he's got all the makings of a great bodybuilding career. If you look at this as a junior, he's got some serious muscle mass.
Yeah, I think at the rate he's going, if that's how big you are as a junior, you're probably destined to outgrow that classic weight cap. So, yeah, I think Eamon's going to move on to bigger and better things, and I can't wait to see it. There's always that hope that, you get some a new talent come on the scenes, and in 8 years' time, he's stepping on an Olympia stage, and you say, I saw him as a junior classic physique guy. So, I hope Eamon really kicks on. In the open classes, for the classic physique, we had 3 classes, open A, B, and C, huge lineups in some of them. Like there were 14 competitors in class A, and one of the serious front runners who took out the overall in New South Wales, Isaac Manning. He has found himself in overalls before at the national level. He took this one out over Aaron Westwood and Zane Simpson. I think Zane took out novice or something like that. Zane is one of Dean McKillop's clients. I can't remember who Isaac works with. I think Isaac's another Tasmanian, if my memory is correct. Although, no, he must be a Sydney guy. No, he's a Sydney guy. My apologies. He did take out that New South Wales show. Isaac is an unbelievably compact, conditioned, well-balanced individual that finished his routine with a backflip. And that's not normal. Tony warned him not to do that again, because apparently there has been injury sustained with spontaneous backflips on stage. But still, very, very impressive nonetheless. What were your thoughts on Isaac in the short class, mate?
Oh, mate, I was impressed with the backflip. He got some very good height and rotation on that. He landed it perfectly, I thought. I don't know if it was his wife and son in front of me, but there were people cheering on. I think it might have been. Mate, he looked amazing. He had great shape, great structure. The classic physique. It seems that over time we're getting more and more in there that genetically really suit the classic physique. I think, first up when classic sort of started, it was maybe seen as a secondary bodybuilding category. If you didn't have too much size, then you could sort of warm up there and then move on. But we're seeing like some absolute tailor-made physiques for classic, and high standard, mate, he absolutely killed it. Looked amazing. Nailed his condition. Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah. Open Class B saw our mate Jake Corrish take it out. Big Jake from Perth, a young guy with an outstanding future. He obviously competed in Perth previously. He came third. There was only one class. Over here, he looked vastly superior. Like, he was quite amazing. Like, when we're talking about a guy who was right at the top of his weight cap, he weighs in, 200, 300 grams under both states and nationals, and yet his visual appearance was significantly different come the nationals. He looked much, much fuller, much, much more conditioned, and he just presented a killer physique. His back poses in particular are devastating, and he took out a really, really deep class with guys like George and Reece Price, falling in second and third. You saw Big Jake, mate.
I did.
What did you think about him?
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned after the WA. I was like, I hope we haven't jinxed him by getting him on the program, and then he got third. Hey, he looked awesome. I mean, turning to the rear, his glutes and hammies were incredibly dialed in. The side shots, his leg from the side, like that glute hammy separation. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily the most detailed. I'm not taking that away. I was saying it lacked detail. It's just those full muscle bellies and that separation that comes out, those really clear lines from the side. You can really distinguish between the muscle groups. And I thought he had a great looking physique. I spoke to him just before the show, wished him luck, and I was very, very keen to watch him sort of step it up after third. I knew that he would be taking it seriously and making some changes, and looked amazing, well deserved. And it was a stacked lineup. Like, if you look at the first call out, like, it was stacked. It was absolutely stacked. No one gets anything for free in any of these national lineups. You've got to work for absolutely everything. Jake was pushed. He had to bring his best. He did, and he got the win.
He did. There's even guys like Peter Knowles, and Peter's been around for ages, and he's always in the top 3, and he's got a dynamite physique, and he's well conditioned, and he ended up in 7th place. And you're just like, dude, if Peter Knowles is in 7th place, that's one hell of a top 6. So an amazing open class B, but it was followed up by an equally amazing, if not superior, class C. And another friend of the podcast, Jordan McDashy, takes it out, and he does so in ridiculously dominant fashion. I let out an audible gasp when he walked on stage and he went into his first pose, and I just went, well, that's the pro card. He was ridiculous, and the guy who came second was ridiculous, David, who won the tall class up in Sydney. The guy that came third, Lachlan, great guy from, I think he's Albury Wodonga, just dense, unbelievably conditioned, beautiful proportions. The guy in fourth was Blessing, who I think took out some true novice and novice classes, one of the most genetically gifted individuals you'll ever see, with just perfect structure and muscle bellies. It's wild. And then Ty in 5th place is another ferocious competitor from over Perth. Like, it's just crazy, the standard that is in this division at the moment. And the way it's going, it's going to be like some of the other divisions where we just got a backlog of pro-worthy physiques just waiting to turn pro. So, yeah, if you're a fan of bodybuilding, mate, don't miss the next pro qualifier. I can guarantee you it's going to be one hell of a battle. But, mate, did Jordan impress you in Perth?
Yeah, as soon as he walked out on stage, same thing. It was kind of like, okay, he's got this. He was definitely on another level. Some body parts that really stood out. I thought his quads and his arms in particular were just like freak show, like really like, wow, that's crazy. And I think they're the type of that's the type of response that you want if you're aiming for your pro card, is you want to really fit in. Looked amazing, well deserved from Jordan. I mean, he absolutely nailed it. Lachlan came up and spoke to me backstage. He's a really nice guy. He got third. He looked incredible for the Vicks when he won. So that gives you an idea of this depth that's in this lineup. And then you touched on Blessing, an up and comer who appears to have all the genetic potential in the world. Some crazy, crazy muscle bellies, some freaky proportions, a little bit more size, and it's kind of couldn't see anyone really standing next to him, could you? Like he'd be in his own category.
Probably would. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Blessing is like 10 kilos under the weight cap, but he is that good that he is beating people that are probably sitting right at that weight cap. It's just unbelievable genetics and structure, fantastic conditioning and presentation and everything else as well. I think it's just a matter of time for him before he's, taken out some big titles. I mean, there was some awesome guys in this lineup, like Corey Freeman, who, won, I think, novice or something at the Vicks. And, he did really well, but he was down in 9th place. Like, again, just ridiculous standard. Like, you're looking at guys in the second call out and they've got like glute striations and just elite level conditioning. And it's just like, man, this is a really hard sport. I absolutely retired at the right time.
And I kind of like, Scotty, how, we don't give out as many pro cards in Australia, and there's that really high standard. And like you said, someone who's coming 5th or 6th at an absolute crazy level, but they're not getting up in first place. I do like that, mate. I do like that. It's kind of like the old days, when the pro cards were given out once every couple of years and it was only the best of the best. And it certainly seems from the depth in this category that is exactly the same. You've got some absolute top amateurs that could stand on any amateur stage around the world, and they're not placed in top 3 because of the standard.
Yep, absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if I saw some of these guys go overseas and even turn pro. We've got Jake heading over to the Amateur O, and wouldn't shock me if he took out a class and you get 3 pro cards up for grabs over there. He might come home with one of them. He is that good. So, it's super, super exciting for Australian bodybuilding. And I think the higher the standard goes, probably by the time you get your card, the closer you are to actually achieving pro success. The whole sport levels up. Jordan has spent a long time chasing this pro card, and, he's finally got the size and everything to do so. And now when he steps on a pro stage, I think he'd be quite formidable. So, it's very, very exciting, the direction of the sport in Australia.
What if you, just for everyone at home, Scotty, in your expert opinion, Jake and Jordan, what set him apart in the overall?
Jordan's just got freak factor, if you ask me. Like, he's just got freaky quad separation and detail, freaky chest striations, freaky arms, and just unbelievable poses. I think Jake is proportionately very, very well developed, but Jordan is a bigger, wider man, and he just has more muscle spread out over that beautiful, big, wide frame of his. So, I think it was just... Hey, Jordan's just an overwhelming presence. He always looks like he weighs much more than he does. I remember when he, competed years ago thinking, man, this guy must be close to the weight cap. And he's like, no, I'm 12 kilos under. And you're like, how does this work? So now
What
that
do you
he's
think he weighed?
I think at this one, he was about 106, and his weight cap
Okay.
was 108 at his
Yep.
height. And now I think he gets an extra 4.5 kilos, he was saying. So he can go up to 112.5 kilos because he's like 6'2", 6'3". And mate, that guy at 112 kilos and the rate he's progressing under the guidance of Neil Hill, because I know he is going into an off season now. He initially had thoughts of jumping on a pro stage, but Neil was like, and let's just put some size on, get you nice and healthy. And when you make your debut, let's try and do some serious damage. So next time he's on stage, I can imagine he'll probably be, close to 110 kilos or something like that. And he's going to be incredibly formidable. I think we're going to have some guys on the Olympia stage at some point in the not too distant future.
What do you see then, Scotty, if he's got a little bit of room to move? I mean, I thought he was the freak factor already. I couldn't imagine him with any more muscle mass. I'm not saying that he can't put it on or anything, but if we're putting on some lean tissue and he's staying in that classic category, where does he go?
Yeah, well, Jordan would probably have to put on a little bit of size in the glutes and the hamstrings. Is the only perceptible weakness I could see would be his side leg pose. That's where, someone like a Jake or something can hang or actually have a little bit of additional superior development. But that's really the only area that you can sort of identify as an issue, but you can never have too big of a back or too wide of lats or anything like that. So I would say just continue to work on the posterior chain, which is built up significantly over the past year or so. And if he keeps growing in those areas, I don't know how far he's going to go, man, but he's going to go a long way, I think. Yeah.
Well done, Jordan.
Well done indeed. On to bodybuilding, junior bodybuilding. Our friend Eamon Butler takes it out once again. Like when you're good, you're good. And some people will say you shouldn't be able to take out two different divisions. They should be judged under a different criteria. But sometimes you're just the best under both criteria. And Eamon was on this day. Again, the bloke's got dense muscle. He's got great condition. He's got great proportions. And you don't get marked down for that in bodybuilding. So he took out both classes and established himself once again as a
Is
big
that a
future
first?
threat.
At the national level, is that a first?
I'm unsure. I cannot remember it happening in the past. So it may be a first. We won't definitively declare it, but it's certainly a rarity.
I'd love that. 2 national titles, 2 different divisions. I don't think I'd ever come down from that.
especially as a junior, man.
I know. It's setting the bar high. It's setting the bar high.
Yeah. It's probably best that my ego wasn't exposed to that at a young age. I'd probably be resting on my laurels for the rest of my life.
It's kind of like, I don't want to jinx you or anything, but it's kind of like, it's only disappointment from here. You've won 2 national titles in the one day. That's as good as it's going to get. Well done.
Yeah. Very impressive. So we can skip ahead and have a look at the open classes where things got really, really interesting. In the open lightweight division, there was 3 guys in there. Rico took it out. I think he was a South Australian Rico, but it looked fantastic for an under 60s guy. The classes started to heat up with the middleweights, where Bobby Randall from Sydney, a legendary Bobby, been around for a while, still getting better. Very compact physique, dense muscularity, awesome conditioning, great proportions. Pushed Chris Abella for the overall at the Sydney show, and I think quite comfortably took out the open middleweight division, although there's no slouches in that weight class either, with Benjamin Robertson, Jack Allen coming in 2nd and 3rd respectively. So Bobby kicked on to the overalls, and I was keen to see him get up there again and get after it because he did hold his own very well the previous weekend. In the light heavyweight division, a very, very competitive class, Ryan Ackerman and Hugh Sliger were the standouts. Ryan, if you're listening to this show, mate, you've got a few fans in the Team Goebel, Bikini army.
Right.
Quite a few fans, right? I'm not sure if you're single, but you've certainly caught the eye of a few young ladies. So if you're looking for some leads on whose DMs to slide into, shoot me a message, Ryan. I think I can help you out there, but I have a feeling you're probably doing all right for yourself. Ryan and Hugh were awesome, man. Awesome, like just compact, dense physiques. The difference being Ryan's unbelievably dominant lower body. He just had incredibly dense glutes, hamstrings, quads, impeccable conditioning, prepped by Dean McKillop. Hugh looked amazing. I would say his upper body was every bit on par with Ryan's, but maybe even in some shots a little bit superior, but he just couldn't overcome Ryan's ridiculous lower body development. And Dylan Harrigan found himself in third, and there's some really other awesome competitors in this class, including Dylan Cohen and Joseph Molino and a few other great competitors that I know. So, yeah, congratulations to the Rhino for taking this one out. He won the overall of Queensland just the week prior. So, hell of a season for Ryan. And I'm not sure how much room he's got left in that cap, but he looks like he'd be on the high end of it, and maybe he's going to become a heavyweight in the not too distant future. In the heavyweight class, we have the reigning heavyweight champion from Sydney, Danny Schneider, with Dinesh Silvani in second and Mark Hunter in third. All of them awesome. I thought Danny kind of took that one relatively comfortably, even though it was still, a competitive class. Ridiculous quads, awesome delts, great conditioning. You saw that one, mate?
Mate, I didn't. I had to jet off before that one. But look, I know Danny well. And listen, Danny, if you're listening, I promise we'll get you on the show. I asked him last time he was at the start of the year show. I said, we'll get you on, and we haven't yet. So, Danny, we will make sure that we do. Look, rock solid physique. I'll tell you what, his legs look crazy. His overall physique. Dinesh, has he won a national?
Yeah, I think he has. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has. Yeah. He's certainly. No, he's been very, very competitive in every show he's done that I remember.
Yeah. So, backing up, like they say, you're not the champion until you sort of defend your title. Danny has done that. And if you're taking out someone who has potentially won a national title as well, it gives you an idea of the standard. There's no easy divisions in the IFBB Pro League at the national level. You got to fight for everything. Coming up against someone like Danny, I don't know how you could sort of match him with that lower body development. Looks amazing. Looks like a very tough stacked division. Danny, we'll get you on, mate. I'll reach out this week, I promise.
Yeah, Danny's got a good following within the sport, and he's spoken of very highly. So yeah, I'd love to chat to him on the show. And then we had the Open Super Heavyweights, which was the talk of the town. We had the overall Sydney winner, Chris Abella, friend of the show. We had the overall Victorian winner, who I know as Dimmy. We had the overall Adelaide winner, Nathan Falke. We had Frank, who took out the super heavyweights in Queensland and really pushed Ryan in the overall there. It was one hell of a class. And mate, I wasn't 100% sure that Chris Abella was going to win this in the moment. Chris has, to be fair, my favourite physique in Australia at the moment. Unbelievable muscularity, unbelievable taper, shape. When he opens up, when he hits his standing relaxed, you're just like, oh my God, that's a pro. And then he goes into a front double bicep, and it's like, I have never seen a taper and bicep peaks and quad sweeps. And this is elite pro stuff. Like not even, low level pro stuff. This is the stuff that's going to do damage on a pro stage. But the problem for Chris has been the conditioning through the glutes and the hamstrings. And when he did turn around, while he was vastly improved from the Sydney showing, he sort of tightened the hamstrings up significantly. And the glutes had come in a little bit. He was still soft from the back by professional conditioning standards. And he was out-conditioned by Dimmy and Nathan and Frank. But he's just that good, mate. Yeah. So he when you break it down, pose for pose, you could argue that Chris won all the front poses. You could probably make an argument that he lost the side poses and the back poses, but the margin of victory in the front double bicep, the lat spread, the most muscular, and the ab and thigh were just so vast that I don't think anyone could overcome them. So congratulations to Chris Abella, despite perhaps not having the best conditioning on stage, and he did not. He had the best physique on stage, and he justifiably took out that division. It was an unbelievable battle. Everyone around me was umming and ahhing and flip-flopping, but the consensus opinion that Chris was just the best bodybuilder on that stage. It was a really good battle, and he took it out. And I think once he took out that super heavyweight class, because of the quality of it, he was a strong favourite for the overall. And ultimately, when all those guys took the stage, again, he was just a little bit overwhelming. While Ryan's lower body challenged him, Chris's upper body was vastly superior, and Chris just kept winning pose after pose. And again, the margin of victory, like no one in this country can stand next to him. No one should stand on the same stage as him when he hits a front double bicep. It is absolutely terrifying. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Tim McKinnon and his coach. If those guys keep getting better, I don't know how far he can go, man. He's a young guy. I think he was on stage 116 kilos. I mean, in the pro ranks, he probably does have to be on stage 125. Like, that's just how big they are at that height. But, mate, the rate is growing. I don't know. Chris Abella, he might be the future.
Very impressive. I was talking to him backstage because I saw him just sitting there and just eating constantly. I was like, I've got to go up and say g'day. And I said, how much are you weighing? And he said, we've got it down to 113, but we're trying to bring it up now ASAP. And he was putting the food down. So he probably was close to that 115 kgs on stage. I think they knew that they needed to push to get that conditioning in. And look, it's a good lesson to learn. Like, I need to just improve the condition. And mate, you gave some great objective feedback there. But it was just interesting. He was down to 113, and the whole time that I saw him, he was just shoveling food nonstop to try to get it back up. He said, look, he was very happy that they'd tightened up considerably from the Sydney show. He said, like, they felt quite confident they're in a really good spot. And, mate, just seeing him, even with his clothes on and his kit on backstage, generally a dieting bodybuilder, even a monster, when they're dieted down wearing clothing, some people aren't that impressive. And, take their shirt off and it's like, wow, look at that. But he was looking like an absolute monster with his clothing, backstage in the bodybuilding show. He's got genuine mass. I wish him all the best. Very nice guy, very polite, well-spoken, absolute killer physique. And like you said, not too far off being able to step up on the pro stage and maybe do some damage. Mate, in terms of bodybuilding, do you rate Chris as Australia's biggest hope since maybe, I don't know, Josh, or where do you sort of put him overall if he continues? I mean, Josh turned pro and then stepped it up many levels. So it wasn't like, Josh turned pro and that was it. He really leveled up a considerable amount. Do you sort of see that in the future of Chris, Scotty?
I do, just due to his youth and his rate of progression. He's just getting significantly better year after year. And he's very, very, very well determined, and he seemed very serious and very mature for his age. And I think that's a pretty fair statement. I think best bodybuilding prospect since Josh Lenardowitz. I mean, James Newcomb won in, the season A this year, and James has the potential to be probably quite a devastating 212 competitor. Yep. But if we're talking open bodybuilding, Chris is the man. And you don't see Chris Abellas come along that often. I've never seen, to me, he's more impressive than Josh as an amateur. Whether he can go as far as Josh is a whole different story. But that structure and those muscle bellies, I struggle to find a flaw like that. What's the issue here? He's got every body part, every insertion. He can bring amazing crisp separation. He's got a tiny waist. Like he probably pounded, a kilo of bagels backstage. He's still pulling a serious vacuum when he gets up there. The guy's absolutely amazing. And to be fair, the guys he beat were awesome. Like really good. Like Dimmy's incredible. He won the super heavyweights in season A and he beat an unbelievable field there. Nathan Falke's great. He's been around for years. Like that guy would have taken out national titles the vast majority of years preceding this one. It's just a terrifying, terrifying standard. And Chris took them all out. So well done,
So
Chris.
then let's say he's got shredded glutes. Let's just say he puts on a couple of kilos. He's up on the pro stage. In your opinion, Scotty, he fits in. He's ready to go. Like apart from maybe some conditioning, maybe a little bit of size. And of course we know he needs a lot, but I'm just saying to have your first pro show, he's not too far off going up there and getting noticed.
I don't think so. Look, I think he will be noticed just on his structure alone. I think he could get up there like this and he would win over fans and judges would be looking at him and taking notice and thinking this guy is the future. I don't think he's far off at all. And again, probably because of his structure, maybe he doesn't have to be 125 on stage. Maybe he's going to be 120 on stage. And he's already doing damage and making first call outs in pro shows. I mean, if we're talking Olympia level and stuff like that, that's a whole different story. Now you better be 125 and you better be inside out peeled. Otherwise you're just going to wait and watch everyone else go through the comparisons. But, I think, small pro shows and things like that, they're not far off at all.
So he's the new front runner for the next Aussie to potentially make the Olympia stage, or maybe James in the 212.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, man, we could have a couple of 212 guys in that Olympia before too long, with James and Cam George and Aaron Pilates making his comeback. So hopefully that would be nice to have, two Aussie bodybuilders in the same Olympia lineup. And I think it's going to happen. Yeah, it's not far off before we get classic guys in there. Tom Stanley almost turned pro this year. So you never know. It could happen in the not too distant future. So that wraps up day one. It was an unbelievable day. One of the best bodybuilding shows I've ever seen. But the real day, of course, is the women's show, mate. That's where the real action happens. And the first division up is the fit model division. We're just going to discuss the open class winners here. We had Amber Dua take it out in the open class A, and we had Larissa Rosenberger take it out in class B. I can't remember where Amber won her state title. I know Larissa won her WA title. I kind of had my eye on Larissa, as did most of those that follow this division, as the pro card favourite. And she didn't disappoint in the slightest. That's Jordan's partner. So 2 pro cards going to the one household on the day, and WA has, at this point in time, taken out 3 of the 4 pro cards. So unbelievable showing by the Perth crew. And Larissa's just stunning, amazing proportions, small waist, good level of muscularity on a lower body, perfect presentation. Like, she's just got it all. And who knows what's going to happen on the pro stage in the fit model division, because we're sort of still figuring out the criteria. But if there was going to be,
that's what I was going to ask you, Scotty. That's what I was going to ask you, mate. What fit model you want to, for everyone listening at home? How is that different from bikini?
Well, it's a lower level of muscularity and a lower level of conditioning. The whole criteria was initially proposed as taking it back to bikini of 10 or 12 years ago. So when Ashley Colwasser, I think, won her first Olympia, that was put forward as the criteria. So we're not looking for a deep glute hamstring tie-in. You're looking for a small, tight waist, good level of development in the lower body, lesser level of development in the upper body as compared to the bikini division. You don't need those cap delts, and just, a little bit less conditioning. So it's going to be interesting.
Is it a stepping stone to bikini, or is it sort of its own shape and structure, but people can go far in that one? Or is there a limitation when it comes to development where it'll be then bikini?
I think that's the case. Yeah, I think it's primarily going to be structure based, because the less muscle you can put on to still fit within the criteria, the more structure influences the placing. But I'm sure there are quite a few girls within that division which are looking to transition and work their way up to the bikini division, just as there are girls in the bikini division which are hoping to transition to a wellness class and things of that nature. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it sorts out. I have no doubt it will evolve like every other division, and the standards will continue to rise, and probably the level of muscularity and conditioning will continue to rise, because that's generally how these things go. And ultimately, fit model will look like bikini, and bikini girls will one day look like figure model or figure girls, and it just continues on. So, look, Larissa, you couldn't ask for a better representative of the division. Beautiful, well-spoken, crazy physique. So, yeah, who knows? She could do major damage on the pro stage. We haven't even seen a fit model pro show, but no doubt she is going to hold her own. So congratulations to Larissa. Congratulations to Jordan, who coached her to this win. And yeah, it was a hell of a card to take out, and just the whole romance of it with her and her partner turning pro on the same day. Both of them had been hunting for pro cards. Larissa had competed in season A in a number of pro qualifiers, came second in both times. So she was due, and well and truly deserved the win, I thought.
Probably kept things a bit more peaceful at home. Can you imagine if one of them won the pro card and the other didn't? There might be some trouble, but both coming home with a pro card, it sort of solves that.
Yeah, well, Jordan was very quick to let me know that now he is, with myself, one of the greatest fit model coaches in Australia, because after I did coach the first fit model pro card, I did let some people know that I was the greatest fit model coach in the history of Australia at that time. But Jordan has now matched me, so well done, Jordan. You absolutely deserve it, mate. She's incredible. In the women's figure division, the winner was of no surprise to me. I saw her backstage at the Sydney show. I had a competitor in that Sydney show who had high hopes of doing very well. And when I saw that girl back there, I was like, you are not going to win, Kim. I'm sorry to say. That girl, Claire, is going to crush you. Claire is about my height. She's got slightly wider shoulders than me, and a vastly superior back development to anything I've ever possessed. Claire was an ex-powerlifter. I think she might have competed in another federation, maybe an FMG or something like that in the past. But her transition over to figure within the IFBB has been an incredible success. It wasn't close. She was just put in the middle, and I have a feeling the judges just ignored her from there and tried to figure out second and third, because unbelievable frame, unbelievable muscularity, great presentation, ideal level of conditioning, probably the best tan on stage. It was sort of one of those things where you're just like, okay, that girl's a pro, and let's see where all these other sort of amateurs stand next to her. And it was a really, really high caliber women's figure division. It's unusual to see the depth of talent in there. Well, you've got someone like Renee Novick, who has done really well in wellness in the past, transitioned over to figure this year. She found herself in 5th place. She was second to Claire up in the Sydney show. Renee Archer, who has found herself in multiple overalls and won the overall Queensland title the week before. Jessica Kennedy, who actually came second to Renee in the Queensland show the week prior. It managed to move up in the ranks into 3rd, and my client Kimberly Tran, who was the overall champion in Victoria, managed to push her way up into 2nd place, which we were absolutely thrilled with. So unbelievable division. Did you catch a glimpse of Claire, mate? Like, she is
I'm looking at the photos now. I am. First up, Kimberly's looking amazing. I mean, I know you said it was light and day, and look, I can see with Claire like how she's got that freak factor, but Kimberly, rock solid physique, and well done to her. Claire, like you said, just looking at this photo here, just this structure and the shape, those wide shoulders, the quad development, her tan, you mentioned that, it is actually on point. Looks like a absolute freak. One of those people, kind of like Jordan, stepping out on stage and you've got the clear winner and then deciding everyone else afterwards. So congratulations, Claire, from the photos up here on the IFBB website. You are looking amazing. Well done.
Yeah, her first ever season with the IFBB, completely undefeated, basically unchallenged, and straight to the pro ranks with her. So she's another one where it's like, yeah, I would like to see her stand on a pro stage. I don't know that she needs more size. So she's pretty damn impressive. So yeah, can't wait to see how she goes. Coached by Corey Baldock, great bloke from down in Tassie. So yeah, well done to both of them on taking out the figure pro card. Then we moved on to women's physique, and Amanda Watson took that one out. Unfortunately for Amanda, who won the overall at both Vics and Queensland, there were not enough competitors to warrant a pro card. Like, you've got to have a minimum of 5 competitors. Had there been, Amanda would be a pro now. She looks absolutely fantastic, a well-deserved winner. She's just got it all. She was a fairly strong favourite heading into it with the 2 overall titles behind her. Lovely lady. So congratulations to her and her coach, Tim McKinnon. Tim got 2 pro cards. Bastard.
Well done, Tim.
Yeah, well done, Tim. Well done, Tim. In the... yeah. I mean, I suppose open bodybuilding is not a bad pro card, yeah.
Mate, we've had Timmy on our old muscle radio before. He's a good sport.
No, we love Tim. Tim's great. Yeah. Tim's great, mate. In the women's wellness division, man, this was a division and a half. I will go on record as saying I think this is the single best open wellness class I have ever seen. It was absolutely phenomenal. I thought the favorite coming into this show was Rosanna Marino, who took out the overall at the Vic show. I remember seeing her there, and she just absolutely blew me away with her density and proportions, a small waist, and she probably could have been ever so slightly tighter at the Vics. And I thought, had she tightened up the sort of glute, hamstring, tie-in region, she was just to be completely unopposed come this show. But she found herself falling second to Jesselyn, who took out the Sydney show the week prior. Jesselyn had improved. I don't believe Rosanna had. I'm not sure for whatever reason. I think her conditioning had taken a very small step backwards. And Jesselyn looked absolutely fantastic with just a killer back shot, where her glutes seemed to attach somewhere down near her knees. and everything is just mind blowing. And again, she's the full package. Like, she's not just a giant pair of glutes in a back shot. She's got great quad development, hamstrings. She's got a small waist. She's got the appropriately imbalanced physique from head to toe, and a very deserved winner over Rosanna in second, Shayla in third. Destiny Carey, one of my clients who was the overall winner in Adelaide and got a couple of second places in open division. She ended up in fourth. Mel Calagiris, who is a phenomenal wellness competitor from Queensland. She tightened up significantly between the state and the national show, and she was in the mix. Rose Ingram's very good. We're down at sixth place now, and I'm already talking about, still talking about amazing high-level competitors. So, again, just the first call out was absolutely wild. Like, it was just, I was looking at it going, my God, this sport has leveled up in the wellness division. And it probably was one of the first wellness classes I've seen in this country where you're like, these girls are ready, like normally I'm looking at the wellness competitors and I'm thinking, I've seen these pro girls. You got a long, long way to go. Not this season. I was like, all right, these girls are ready to go. I mean, they will have to level up in terms of size and development. It's standing on stage next to, a South American wellness competitor is a scary thing, but Jesselyn has all the potential to do some major damage, and it was super exciting. I had not heard of her before this season. She may have been around, but an incredible winner. And she found herself in the open division up against the open Class B winner, Jasmine Beattie, who took out the overall in Queensland. Jasmine has an unbelievably aesthetic physique. When she first walks on stage, I must admit, I thought, okay, needs a little bit more development, but, pretty girl, nice structure, she'll be good. But the more she poses, the more she wins you over. And I think she definitely took out novice, so she might have even taken out true novice as well, and pretty much did the clean sweep all the way up to the open class title. As an unbelievable backshot, that's her real strength, but just very, very impressive, and won it not on size, but won it on proportions, structure, immaculate conditioning, perfect presentation, and deservedly so. And she beat out some really good girls like Jessica Starkey and Joe Stanley, and these girls that had, I think Jessica was the overall winner of the Per show. Again, super, super competitive field. I had a couple of clients in this division. I had 3 clients in this division, and they ended up in 5th, 6th, and 7th, and I had high hopes for them, but that's just the nature of the game. It's super, super competitive, and Jasmine went up against Jesselyn in the overall, and Jesselyn took it out just on the basis of her density and muscularity, I would say.
Tell me this, Scotty. Do you see wellness from a population level? Is that more open to your typical female physique, let's say, than bikini? Do you see the wellness as actually having the potential to be the big one that most females aim for? It's better suited to the average female body once they have trained and developed certain areas and that type of thing. And also, I guess from the point of view of marketing and things, glutes on females and the lower half, where do you see wellness going just based on how it's come in, where it is now? Like, where do you sort of project it in 5 to 10 years?
I think it's a super popular division. Like, my bikini competitors love the wellness class. They absolutely love it, and they really look up and admire the high-level competitors. I just think it's a borderline unattainable level of development for most female athletes. It's exceptional lower body development is required to excel in that. And it's just difficult to attain that. There've been some girls that have been very successful and might have come from powerlifting backgrounds and things of that nature. But for many, it's a wonderful thing to aspire to and something to admire, but perhaps not that realistic. I think bikini level of development is increasing apparently year after year, the level of muscularity required for that. And for a lot of people, that's difficult to attain, let alone the wellness development. So I think it would be incredibly popular, like you say, from a marketing standpoint, but from a numbers standpoint, I think bikini will always crush it. Yeah.
Yep, fair point. Yeah, like I said, the marketing side of things, it certainly seems like it has the greatest potential. And like you said, with some of your bikini athletes that really look up to them, I kind of get the same feeling. And just reading some of the comments on the Instagram posts and things like that, this wellness category, it seems to be on its own level. It's got some unique characteristics. I personally think it's going to be one to to drive a lot of female competitors in the future. Like you said, there might be some genetic predispositions. You might have some South Americans, I know certain Asian countries where, the females have great lower body development. I don't know, Scotty. Let's watch this one, mate. I have a feeling that wellness will be a lot bigger than any of us expected in years to come.
No, I hope you're right. I love the division. It's a spectacle, so I hope that's the case. But for now, the biggest division is definitely the bikini class. Like that's the one where we've got multiple height classes. If we start with the bikini juniors, because they were pretty outstanding, especially that top three. Hannah Atkinson, who took out junior bikini in Queensland, won that one with unbelievable everything, conditioning in particular, a very, very well-conditioned junior athlete. Jasmine Sweeney, an outstanding junior competitor from Victoria, took second, and Matilda from Perth took third. I think Matilda was probably one of the favourites coming into it, just beautiful proportions and a fantastic physique. But again, it just shows how competitive it was at that national level where you're up against all the state winners. And then if we just skip ahead to the open classes, there were a lot of heavy hitters across the three divisions, but probably the most anticipated class was Open Class A. The reason for that is because Maya McGrath was in it, and Maya had taken out the overall at the Victorian show. She had won her class at the Queensland show. Maya is by far my most recognized client leading into this season, and the amount of people that message me saying, I love Maya, I want Maya to win, Maya's untouchable, Maya's the best. I just hear it constantly. I'm actually almost sick of hearing about how good Maya is. She is that popular. But she was up against Mercedes, who she faced in the Queensland show. She was also up against Vanessa Cox, who had cleaned up in pretty much every division at the Sydney show, and Katie Stones, who was the only person to beat Vanessa, I believe, up in Sydney. She took out the overall. So we had absolutely stacked top four to the point where they did, the first call out, the second call out, and then they brought that four back on stage to have another look at them. Unfortunately for Katie, she had some tanning mishaps, shall we say, in the lead up to the show. And she ended up having to be patched up with like a dream tan like substance backstage before she went on, and gave her physique a very muddy appearance and softened her out. And I believe it, probably bumped her from third to fourth. But that's not Vanessa's fault. She well and truly deserved that third placing. She was every bit as good, if not improved, from the week prior, as was Mercedes, who had a close second to Maya in Queensland and pushed her every bit of the way here, and landed herself in second behind Maya, who took out that short class A open division and went on to the overalls. Have you seen any images of Maya? Because she is a freak show.
Yeah, just looking at the photos here, yeah, unbelievable proportions and structure. From what I can see here, looks completely the part for bikini. Looks amazing.
Yeah, she's got it all. Yeah, she's absolutely got it all. In Open Class B, I think the favourite coming into this was Lily Ritchie. Lily took out that division in the Queensland show. It was super, super competitive up there. I would go so far as to say she had the best front pose in that Queensland show, and that's up against the winners, Maya, and the ultimate winner of the overall in Queensland, Hayley. But for whatever reason, Lily wasn't quite as conditioned from the back. I don't know if it's a flatness issue, a spilling issue. It's always hard to tell. But a tiny little slip up, and she moved all the way down to fifth place. Again, just showing the depth and the quality of a class like this. Jess Green ended up taking it out. Jess was a close second to Lily up in the Queensland show. She had improved ever so slightly, a little bit fuller, same great level of conditioning, and she managed to beat the junior winner, Hannah Atkinson, and with Georgia Webber in third place there. That was another fantastic class with a whole bunch of formidable competitors, and was very, very happy to see Jess get a national title. I think she's won a national title before, but I think it was like 6 years ago or something like that. And then
Big win.
Big win. If you're winning an open class in bikini at nationals, you're a hell of a competitor, and she is going to head off to the amateur O this week. Open class C, that was always going to be Hayley Knopp's division. There were no new competitors. Hayley had previously won the tall class in novice, so she'd already beaten these girls. It was sort of a foregone conclusion when she took the stage. But it was a Team Goble top three, mate. Hayley in first.
I know. Congratulations, mate. That's
Chloe,
awesome.
Yeah, Chloe Biovic in, well, this is just for the high classes. This is just for high class C. It was Haley, Chloe, and Jasmine, all clients of mine, managing to place first, second, and third. Chloe was the overall winner of the Adelaide show. Jasmine, an unbelievably formidable junior competitor. So some awesome placings for those girls. And it was down to Haley, Jess, and Maya in the overall. And Haley took it out in a unanimous decision. And I think it all just comes down to height and structure and just an imposing physique on stage. I actually watched the overall from up close, very, very up close. And I wasn't sure which way I was going to go because Maya's got probably more muscle per square inch than what Haley does. But Haley is that much taller. And when you look at the footage from like the back of the auditorium or further back, you only see Haley. That's all you see is because of her height and her structure and her taper and the shapes that she creates with her silhouette. So yeah, Haley, shocked to find herself in the overall, shocked to win the overall. May have messaged me the day before the show saying she should pull out because she was just going to embarrass herself up there. Might have talked her into doing the show, and you're welcome, Haley. You're welcome that I did that.
I'm looking at a video here of you giving her a hug backstage. She looks very, very happy. Tell me this: were you keeping quiet for the overalls? You can't cheer for anyone. You have to just watch.
I did have to keep quiet for the overalls. Yeah, I can't cheer. I can't show favoritism. It's very, very difficult. I was very relaxed in that overall. I knew a pro card was coming to the team either way. There wasn't going to be a bad decision, so I was going to be happy with the result.
Well, tell me this. Do you think that was the decision you were looking at? But at the end, you said it was very close. But what are your thoughts?
I thought Haley was going to win. Yeah, I thought Haley was going to win. Yeah, but that's based off of the fact that she beat Maya the previous week in Queensland. If I was sitting there rationally judging it, it's a tough decision because to me, Maya has the density, the pro level density and the pro level conditioning. Haley's got pro level structure, pro level shape. I think she needs a little bit more muscle and still a little bit more conditioning to stand on the pro stage. So it's the case of every bikini division or every division in bodybuilding where you're subjectively weighing up the strengths and weaknesses of each individual. And I do think that Haley's height and structure was enough to get her over the edge. And I think it was a good decision. But I would have agonized over Maya and Haley, wondering which one would do better if they were to step on a pro stage the very next day. It will be interesting to see, but Maya is also off to the Amateur Olympia, and hopefully she can bring a pro card home there. If she doesn't there, I think she'll look at another pro qualifier. If she doesn't there, she might look at another pro qualifier. She's very, very, very motivated, and mate, in the lead up to this show, Maya's been stage ready for probably 6 or 7 weeks, and all we have done is toggle her calories and carbohydrates in order to just hold this look. And mate, she's probably sitting on an average of 2,600 calories a day. And with 10,000 steps a day, no cardio, no fat burning, no nothing. Like that's just where her body wants to sit now. So she's unbelievable. It's amazing how stable her body was in the lead up to the show. And a lot of that's just down to her mindset and things like that, where she's very even keel, low stress individual that, takes everything in her stride. Haley, take note of how Maya goes about it. You are the opposite of an even keel Loki, but an unbelievable athlete nonetheless.
What's your advice to Haley, mate, before she steps on the pro stage? What do you got to work on as her coach? What are you telling her?
For honestly, Haley, it is mostly a mental thing. Like it's honestly self-belief is what she needs more than anything. She would, before each show, stress herself into a little bit of a mess, and work to high levels of anxiety and barely make it to the stage. So Haley needs self-belief more than she needs anything else. And then she needs bigger glutes. That's what she needs. On the pro stage, she is going to need significantly larger glutes, probably in the front pose, but just from every angle. Every single Aussie girl that takes the stage in the pros is told more muscle density, specifically more glutes. Like it's just universal.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And those pro girls are jacked. And they're pretty damn lean too. Like the judges like to say, oh, you don't want to get too muscular or too conditioned for bikini. My general rule of thumb is get as muscular and as shredded as you possibly can. And, maybe you'll be dense and lean enough to do bikini, because it's an extreme look for a female athlete. To diet down to a glute hamstring tie-in is very, very unnatural. For the vast majority of girls, it's unhealthy and it'll cause hormonal disruption and all sorts of issues. So yeah, these girls are lean and they are jacked. Yeah.
Mate, what a show. What a wrap up. Well done, Scotty. This is your territory, mate. The IFBB show wrap ups. This is what you've done. You've done it for years, actually, these wrap ups.
Yeah. Oh, look, Amanda, it is the highlight of my year, these pro qualifiers. I'm very, very excited. I must admit, I immensely enjoyed the physique show. I really only had one client in it, Fabs, and to see him take out an open title was awesome. And then Christian Colwell had a master's bodybuilder in there who I was supporting, a great guy named Luke. But the rest of the time, I was mostly just spectating. So super, super fun show on Saturday for me.
Good to watch. And listen, Brad Jones and Rob, you got second in the Masters physique. Congratulations, Brad. You looked your best. Well done, boys.
Yeah, it was a great show. And look, if you competed in it, you contributed to probably the deepest, toughest, most talented national lineup that Australia has ever put on stage. And granted, I think I've said that before, but it just seems to be the case that each season it gets that little bit better. So, man, I can't wait for season A. It'll be crazy. And then season C next year will blow that away, I'm sure. The standard in Australia is nuts. And I think quite a few of these competitors will go overseas and get pro cards before the next round of amateur shows in Australia.
But you're not done yet, are you? Going to Japan still?
Yeah, look, I do have the Japan show to attend. I'll have a couple of amateur competitors over there potentially, and some pros over there as well. So we'll see how that all goes down. But I've got people still competing for sure. And I think, Maya in particular, and Jess Green, they're both red hot chances to get one of the bikini pro cards over there in America. So it's exciting.
Yeah, nice. Well done, mate. Congratulations on all the success.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all of those that tuned in. If we didn't mention your name, I apologize. We've only got so much time, but if you were up there, you were amazing, and congratulations on getting to that national stage. It's an accomplishment in and of itself. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and we will be back shortly with another video for Max's Muscle TV podcast.